Comment down below where you're watching from and don't forget to like and subscribe if you hate Karen. My first dawn in Oakfield Meadows looked exactly like the realtor's brochure, maples casting lacework shadows, porch swings swaying lazily, silence broken only by songbirds. I, Miles Abbott, 39-year-old financial advisor and sworn disciple of order and logic, had finally escaped city chaos for suburban symmetry. Breathing crisp air, I rolled my recycling bin to the curb. And that's when I met my introduction to entropy. She materialized from the neighboring driveway like a stage cue, Eleanor Chambers, late 60s, bottle blonde helmet hair, coral pink tracksuit, and a trembling teacup terrier named Pip tucked beneath one elbow. Her smile looked pleasant enough, but her eyes flickered with the practiced intensity of someone accustomed to getting exactly what she wanted. "Good morning, dear," she cooed, voice syrupy. "You must be the new accountant." "Advisor," I corrected gently. "Splendid." Her gaze roved approvingly over my pressed shirt and polished shoes. "You strike me as terribly responsible. Perhaps you'd help Pip stretch his little legs now and then." I managed a polite laugh, unaware that those 11 innocent words would seed a conflict stranger than any market crash graph I'd ever analyzed. The suburb was perfect, the variables, I would soon learn, were not. Eleanor's "perhaps you'd help Pip" turned out not to be a polite feeler but the opening volley of a campaign. The following morning she was planted at the foot of my drive, Pip quivering inside a rhinestone carrier. "Miles, darling," she trilled, blocking the path to my sedan. My back seized up overnight. "Would you mind a quick trot with Pip?" "Only once. He gets anxious." I glanced at my smartwatch, 7:42 a.m., client call at 9, 40-minute commute. "I'm sorry, Eleanor, I truly can't." "Have you considered a professional walker?" She tilted her head with theatrical pity. "Strangers? Oh no. Pip needs familiarity. You're so reliable." That word again. I repeated my regrets, slid into the car, and sped off feeling vaguely guilty. The pattern solidified fast. Morning, noon, and dusk. Eleanor materialized like clockwork, on her porch when I jogged, at the mailbox when I fetched Amazon parcels, even mid-stretch in the park on Sunday. Each time she opened with a lament. Throbbing sciatica, vertigo, barometric pressure wreaking havoc on delicate joints. Each time I declined with equally varied explanations, conference deadlines, grocery runs, an imaginary video call. I wasn't heartless, I researched local pet care services and printed a neat list. When I handed it over, her smile snapped shut like a mousetrap. "Paying strangers is daylight robbery," she sniffed. "Besides, Pip trusts you. Surely a brisk circuit round the cul-de-sac isn't too much." My patience thinned. "Eleanor, I leave at 7, return late, and travel twice a month. I'm not the person for this." Her expression hardened, lips flattened, eyes glinting beneath mascara. She muttered something about selfish yuppies and retreated behind her hydrangeas. For 48 blessed hours she vanished. I assumed the crisis had passed, until Wednesday, when Oakfield skies split in a spring deluge. Umbrella flipping inside out, I sprinted toward the porch. And nearly collided with Eleanor, who clutched Pip under a polka-dot rain cape. "Miles, thank heavens!" she shouted over the roar of gutters. "Pip loathes rain but he simply must relieve himself." "My arthritis," she made a glass-shattering sigh. Rainwater dripped from my hair onto my briefcase. "No, Eleanor. I'm late, I'm soaked, and this conversation ends here." A flash of something, fury, humiliation, crossed her face. She hugged Pip tighter, eyes blazing. "Fine. But don't pretend you care about anyone but yourself." I stepped around her, boots sloshing, and entered my foyer, pulse thudding. Through the rippled glass I saw her still standing in the downpour, shoulders rigid. The standoff had escalated from neighborly nuisance to simmering conflict, and I sensed the next move would be hers, not mine. The next move arrived 2 mornings later, still rainy, streets silvered with puddles. I unlocked the Prius when an irate shriek cleaved the drizzle. "Miles Abbott, stop right there." Eleanor barreled down her walkway in a plastic poncho, Pip dangling like an unwilling marionette. Before I could speak, she unleashed. "You struck my dog." The words were so ludicrous I laughed, which only fueled her fervor. "Laugh if you like, brute. I saw you yank him Monday, now he's bruised." She thrust Pip toward me. Under damp fur, faint violet blotches dotted the belly. I took a calm step back. "I haven't touched Pip, let alone harmed him." "Liar." She jabbed a finger. "I'm reporting animal cruelty. Oakfield Meadows will know what sort of monster moved in." From her poncho pocket emerged a phone already dialing. My heart thudded. In finance you learn never to panic, panic clouds facts. I pulled out my own phone and pressed record. "Hello, emergency." Eleanor wailed. "My neighbor beat my poor Pip, yes, he's dangerous, please send officers immediately." I captured every syllable, panning to Pip, ears flat, eyes confused. And to a hydrangea leaf plastered against Eleanor's forehead like some absurd badge of combat. "Call completed," she pointed again. "The police will deal with you. Maybe jail time will teach empathy." I could have pleaded, reasoned, offered veterinary proof. Instead I inhaled, centered my voice. "Eleanor, fabricating abuse is serious. I have this exchange on video. Think carefully." Her face contorted, rain streaking mascara into gothic rivulets. "I think you'll regret hurting an innocent creature." She retreated, cradling Pip and barking accusations audible half a block away. I slid into the driver's seat, shoulders tight, mind racing through procedural flowcharts. Police would arrive. Best case, interview, distrust, release. Worst case, arrest, media embarrassment, career risk. My firm prized reputation like gold. One thought steadied me, evidence. I had my recording, and logic favored truth. Nevertheless, a knot sat in my stomach the entire commute, and numbers on spreadsheets blurred behind Eleanor's raw shriek. That evening 2 patrol cars idled by the curb, lights off but presence unmistakable. Floodlights illuminated Eleanor's porch where she held court, neighbors clustering like rubberneckers at a fender bender. An officer approached as I exited the car. "Mr. Abbott, we'd like your account regarding an alleged animal cruelty incident." His tone was professional, eyes neutral. "Certainly, officer," I said, handing over my phone. The entire conversation is time-stamped. Behind us Eleanor gasped. "Don't believe him, he's manipulative." The officer raised a hand. "Ma'am, we'll speak with you shortly." He watched the clip, brows knitting, then whispered to his partner, who scribbled notes and inspected Pip. Even at dusk the purple marks appeared oddly uniform. "Mr. Abbott," the first officer said, "may we take the dog for veterinary examination?" Eleanor clutched Pip. "Over my dead body." Her hysteria crackled through the humid air. The drama was no longer about dog walks, it had morphed into something darker, an accusation that, if disproven, might ricochet back harder than she imagined. Convincing Eleanor to release Pip required 20 torturous minutes of diplomacy. Rain drummed on porch rails as Officer Hernandez spoke in low, grounding tones while his partner, Officer Patel, quietly contacted County Animal Services. "Mrs. Chambers," Hernandez said, clipboard angled to keep drops off the form, "the simplest way to protect Pip is a professional evaluation. If injuries are real, we'll have evidence. If not, you avoid liability for false reporting." Logic didn't sway her, threat of misdemeanor did. At the phrase obstruction of an investigation, her grip loosened. Pip was transferred to a travel crate, whimpering. I signed a witness statement inside my kitchen while Eleanor paced the sidewalk, ranting to anyone listening. Neighbors emerged under umbrellas, Mr. Dalton from number 12 filming covertly, teenage twins from number 10 live tweeting. Oakfield had its entertainment. With the patrol cars gone, the cul-de-sac buzz thinned. I microwaved soup, appetite nil, replaying possible outcomes. Innocence wasn't the same as immunity. Allegations linger, rumors metastasize, especially when social media neighbors act as unofficial press. At 11 p.m. Officer Hernandez called. The vet's preliminary report, bruises consistent with cosmetic ink, easily wiped. More alarming, X-rays revealed prior rib fractures and signs of chronic malnutrition. I thanked him, hung up, and exhaled a breath that seemed to last all night, relief for my own name, dread for a tiny dog's hidden suffering. Morning brought headlines on the neighborhood Facebook group, Suspicious Dog Injuries, Truth Coming. Post authored by LEC, Eleanor in digital form, vomited accusations against me and the police, conspiracy, misogyny, big finance cover-up. Comments divided, some outraged, others skeptical. I resisted the urge to engage. Never wrestle with pigs, a mentor once said, both get muddy, but pigs enjoy it. By afternoon, Animal Services finalized its findings. Officer Patel returned, this time sporting a Humane Society patch. 2 squad cars followed. I watched from my study window as Eleanor, still in coral tracksuit, was read her rights. She argued, clutched porch railings, wailed about heart medication, then vanished into the cruiser, hands cuffed but manicured nails pristine. News of the arrest exploded online, someone overlaid her mugshot on a Karen alert meme. I felt no triumph, only a strange hollowness mixed with vindication. Pip, meanwhile, was placed in a foster program. Patel assured me the pup skittish but safe, responding well to careful handling. 3 evenings later, I met with Oakfield Meadows HOA board, an obligatory courtesy when police lights disturb the peace. President Marjorie Klein, Silver Bob and Clipboard, apologized for neighbors' curiosity. "We're grateful you documented everything," she said. Social media rumor almost stampeded a grievance committee. She hinted Eleanor had weaponized HOA rules before, nitpicking fence heights, threatening fines for patriotic bunting displayed beyond approved calendar dates. Marjorie slid a printed proposal across the table, Oakfield Civility Addendum, clauses on harassment, false claims, and mandatory mediation. "Would you review this? A fresh perspective would help." I agreed, partially out of civic duty, partially to ensure safeguards against future Karens. Numbers are my comfort zone. Codifying civility felt akin to balancing ledgers, assigning debits to tantrums, credits to reason. Court arraignment followed a week later. I appeared as witness. Eleanor, in beige jail-issued cardigan, pleaded not guilty to cruelty and false reporting. Her attorney claimed stress, back pain, and community hostility. The judge ordered psychological evaluation and issued a temporary restraining order, Eleanor to stay 100 feet from my property upon release. Outside the courthouse, press huddled. Microphones angled toward me. Statement, Mr. Abbott. I kept it concise, I respect due process. My concern is Pip's welfare. No gloating soundbite. That night, as rain finally cleared, Oakfield Meadows smelled of wet earth and something like renewal. I sipped tea on the porch, observing silence where Eleanor's shrill greetings once echoed. Yet I knew the saga's ledger wasn't closed. There would be appeals, community whispering, personal reflection on why kindness denied can mutate into cruelty. Still, the balance sheet trended toward justice, Pip safe, allegations disproven, and neighborhood eyes open to manipulation hidden behind perfumed tracksuits. Eleanor's bail hearing unfolded beneath buzzing fluorescence that flattened everyone's complexion, even hers. The prosecution cited veterinary records. Malnourishment, past fractures, inked bruises applied to frame a neighbor. The defense presented a dossier of doctor's notes, degenerative disc disease, anxiety, a life overwhelmed by pain. Judge Albright, mid-50s with a spare, no-nonsense cadence, weighed arguments before setting bail at $7,500 and requiring completion of a comprehensive mental health assessment before release. Eleanor's adult son, a pale accountant from Denver, posted the amount that evening. She returned to Oakfield Meadows under electronic monitoring, but the restraining order kept her perimeter clear. Peace felt tentative, like glass on edge. I avoided driveway crossover times, jogged different routes, and installed a Ring camera. HOA volunteers delivered hot meals the first week, an olive branch come curiosity mission. Conversations always circled back to the same question: how did you stay so calm? Practice, I thought. In finance you survive by taming emotions while markets thrash. Outwardly I credited mindfulness and documentation. Meanwhile, the HOA adopted the Civility Addendum 5-2, dissenters feared litigation culture, but majority hailed it as overdue. I was invited onto a governance subcommittee alongside retired Judge Sheila Vaughn and data analyst Max Ito. We began coding an online portal for quiet conflict resolution: submit complaint, auto-notify parties, schedule mediation. Algorithmic neighborliness. Pip's foster guardian, a veterinary tech named Lacey, sent updates: improved appetite, tail wagging, slow trust building. Photos showed a timid dog wearing a tiny Thunder shirt, eyes beginning to sparkle. I donated to Lacey's rescue group and offered pro bono budget planning. She joked I was Pip's CFO. 2 months later, Eleanor's pre-trial conference arrived with a twist: plea deal. She would plead guilty to misdemeanor cruelty, attend anger management classes, perform 120 hours of community service, and permanently surrender Pip. False reporting charge dismissed those cited in sentencing remarks. She accepted, voice barely audible. Community service began at Sawyer Park litter pickup, fluorescent vest clashing with her salon blonde hair. Local teens posted TikToks of Karen picking trash, garnering thousands of views. I found no pleasure watching, but some grim poetic balance existed: the woman obsessed with neighborhood aesthetics now maintaining public cleanliness. One humid Saturday she paused near my jogging path, trash grabber in hand. Miles, she called, tentative. I slowed. Her face looked older, makeup minimal, eyes ringed with fatigue. I wanted to say, "I'm sorry." The words wobbled but landed. I wasn't well. Pip deserved better. I nodded, unsure how to reply. Forgiveness is tricky. Neither ledger entry nor grand proclamation, more like gradually eased tension. "Thank you," I said. "I hope you're getting help." She swallowed. "Therapist twice a week. It's revealing." She gestured toward the debris bag. "Consequences reveal, too." We parted with a restrained nod, but weight lifted a little. Months passed. Community service completed, anger management certificate filed, Eleanor disappeared from social feeds. Her house went on the market. Staged photos devoid of dog bowls and garden gnomes. In October a sold sign appeared, rumor said she moved near her son. At Pip's adoption fair, Lacey placed the pup in my arms. He licked my thumb, small tail thumping. "He still needs patience," she warned. I met those dark eyes and felt the calculus of responsibility pivot. My schedule was structured, my yard secure, my heart unexpectedly open. I signed the papers. That evening Pip explored every inch of my living room, then curled on a cushion at my feet while I reconciled spreadsheets. The house, once echoing, now had soft footfalls and quiet snores. Healing, too, has compound interest. Life with Pip redefined routine in the best way: sunrise walks replaced bleary scrolling, midday fetch breaks forced posture resets, evening snuggles beat Netflix algorithms. The neighborhood responded warmly. Mrs. Patel crocheted a miniature sweater. The McCormick twins built a DIY agility tunnel. Oakfield Meadows itself seemed to inhale calmer air. Mediation portal usage climbed, fence line quarrels solved in days, not months, parking spats diffused before flyers hit windshields. Data analyst Max displayed a dashboard at the HOA's annual meeting, complaints resolved without escalation up 68% since the civility addendum. Eleanor remained a cautionary tale but not a punchline. Judge Vaughn insisted we erase meme threads from the message board. Accountability, yes, public shaming, no, she said, gavel tone still intact. Residents complied, empathy edged out mockery. On a crisp November morning, Pip and I passed Sawyer Park and spotted a freshly planted dogwood. A bronze plaque read, "For every creature that finds its second chance." Anonymous donor, but I suspected Eleanor. Forgiveness, it turned out, could flower silently. Professionally, I published a LinkedIn article, Crisis Journaling for Advisors, Lessons from a Neighborhood Allegation. It trended within niche circles, compliance officers messaged gratitude. Crisis stories resonate when portfolio values and reputations intertwine. Yet the most profound dividends were personal, a widened circle of friends, a dog dozing by my feet, and a refined radar for boundary maintenance. I'd learned that saying no isn't rude, it's preventive care. And that documentation, far from cynical, is simply daylight. Things grow healthiest when exposed to it. Spring returned, streaking Oakfield's maple bud chartreuse. On a Saturday volunteer day, Governance Subcommittee presented its final report, Neighbor Resilience Initiative, resources on mental health hotlines, subsidized pet care vouchers, quarterly empathy workshops. We weren't utopian, we were pragmatic, invest up front, save crises later. Council voted 7-0 to adopt. I felt a quiet thrill, spreadsheets transmuted into safer streets. Afterward, Judge Vaughn pulled me aside. Ever consider municipal office? Your equilibrium's rare. I laughed. One crusade at a time. A week later, Denver Post ran a human interest feature, from financial charts to canine hearts, how one advisor helped reform an HOA. My inbox filled with kudos and a few trolls calling me virtue jockey. Noise, easily filtered. Pip's progress mirrored the neighborhood's. At first he flinched at fast gestures, now he chased frisbees with joyous abandon. Trust, I realized, accrues like dividends, slow, steady, powerful. One evening I received an envelope with no return address. Inside, a single Polaroid, Eleanor standing beside the dogwood, freshly watered, serene. On the back, thank you for protecting what mattered, even from me. No signature needed. I showed the photo to Pip, he sniffed, then trotted away in search of chew toys. For him, the past was truly past, a lesson humans struggle to emulate. That night I drafted chapter outlines for a book I'd toyed with, The Neighbor Ledger, Boundaries, Documentation, and Compassion in Suburbia. Working title only, maybe it would live on a hard drive, maybe a shelf. Either way, story stored equals wisdom preserved. Summer twilight draped Oakfield meadows in gold, cicadas droning like distant applause. I lounged on the porch swing, ledger laptop closed, iced mint tea sweating on the rail. Pip dozed against my thigh, occasional paw twitch signaling rabbit-chasing dreams. Across the street, for sale sign at Eleanor's former house came down, a young couple unloaded moving boxes. I waved, offered spare packing tape, and, before neighborhood lore could flavor their impressions, handed them a pamphlet on the civility portal and a coupon for Lacey's pet-sitting service. Welcome to Oakfield, I said. Rules are simple, communicate early, document politely, and don't underestimate tiny dogs. They laughed, unsure if I was joking. Maybe someday they'd hear the longer version, the one with rainstorms, marker bruises, courtrooms, but perhaps not. Neighborhoods thrive when folklore becomes guidance, not gossip. Back on the swing, I contemplated vectors, markets trend, people heal, communities iterate policies. None move strictly upward, corrections happen. Yet with sunlight, water, and accountable gardeners, the overall chart of well-being angles positive. My phone chimed, a reminder set months ago, first day you met Pip. I scratched his ears. Year 1 profit report, buddy, assets up, liabilities managed, goodwill overflowing. He sneezed in approval. Lights flickered on house facades, porch lamps forming a constellation of domestic stability. I thought of Eleanor somewhere in Denver, perhaps watering another sapling, perhaps attending therapy. I wished her peace. Tea finished, I carried Pip inside. The door clicked, porch light timed to switch off at midnight, a programmed boundary between day and rest. I glanced at the foyer mirror and found a man still devoted to order and logic, but now fluent in the variables empathy introduces. Before turning in, I drafted one more calendar note, Dogwood Bloom Watch, April 12th. Data tracking, yes, but also a reminder that even after storms, beauty returns right on schedule. Oakfield Meadows exhaled. Story closed. Not with a bang or a whimper, but with a soft canine sigh and the quiet certainty that, sometimes, the equations of living add up exactly as they should.